and gentlemen, welcome back to Captain Matt. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you find some content here that is both enjoyable and informative. And if you're returning, it's great to see you again. We've been away for a while, but we're back, and hopefully you'll enjoy what we're bringing to you in the near future. So if you remember in previous videos, I've always introduced myself as an A380 captain out here in the Middle East. Well, times have changed, pandemics have hit, and we're no longer a 380 captain. Now I find myself as an A320 captain out here in the Middle East. However, I'm also qualified on the A330 and A350. And it's in the A350 that we find ourselves today. Here we are in Los Angeles, runway 24 left. In today's video, we're going to just fly a basic visual pattern. Exactly the same pattern as you'd fly in a Piper Warrior, a Cessna 152, or any other aircraft. Just we fly it slightly faster and with a few more buttons. We'll talk through the circuit pattern, fly the circuit here in Los Angeles, come back round and land here on 24 left. So if you're ready, let's get going. Before we start the flight, let's have a look at the visual circuit. As you can see from the diagram, the circuit starts from the downwind leg at 1500 feet above ground level, flap 1 at green dot speed. So in our case today, we're at about 200 knots or so. We continue downwind till we are abeam the threshold. This is the point where we start the timing. We need to extend downwind for 45 seconds, plus or minus every knot of headwind. So for instance, if we have a 10 knot tailwind, we would only extend down 35 seconds. At the end of that extension, we will take flap 2 and start our base turn. From there, it's a continual descent, albeit gradual, where we'll put the gear down, arm the spoilers, and before we turn final, we'll take flap 3 and flap full. We continue to look at the PAPIs as we turn the corner, looking for 2 reds and 2 whites, to have the aircraft fully stabilized by 500 feet. And from there, it's just a normal landing. So let's get back in the cockpit and have a look at the flight. So here we are at the holding point in Los Angeles, runway 24 left. Echo 6 is our holding point that we're at, and we are almost ready for departure. Aircraft is set, as you can see on the screen on the left on the ANF. We are at the holding point. Screen on the right shows the aircraft nicely on the center line, and on the ground you can see the designator for runway 24 left. So we're just going to fly the visual circuit here in Los Angeles. We'll fly a left-hand pattern, and the circuit altitude is 1700 feet. So I release the brakes and we'll taxi gently onto the runway, just apply a little bit of power. So a little oversteer, so the nose wheel goes slightly right of the yellow line on the ground. As you can see now, the designators, the warnings are coming on to say that we are approaching a runway. Runway ahead tells us it's 24 left, and we can continue. So again, a little bit of oversteer with the 350, just to get the center of the aircraft along the center of the runway. So here we see the arrows. Runway 24 left here in Los Angeles has a displaced threshold. So we are on the displaced threshold section of the runway, which is perfectly normal. There we go, coming to the center of the runway. And just bring it to a halt here on the center of the runway. So we remove the ANF for departure. Now we're on arc mode. Take the taxi camera off, so we have the traditional primary flying display. Brakes are released, a little bit of nose down pressure, and apply 50% of the thrust. Engines coming up, nice and stable. Okay, we're going to go. So takeoff thrust, read the FMA, man 50, SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. Speed is building nicely. Through 80 knots, begin to release the back pressure. 100 knots. Checking the systems, everything looks good to go. Approaching V1.
V1.
Rotate. So we pitch up, looking for the flight director. There it comes. SRS is now activated. stabilizing around about 12 degrees. A little more back pressure, there we go. Okay, so we're going to fly the visual circuit, so I don't want to be in nav. We'll take heading, positive climb, gears coming up. I'm approaching 1,000 feet. So it says Mach outstar lever climb. So we bring the thrust levers back. We're leveling off, 1,700 feet. Okay, good. Speed is building, so we will activate the approach to stay in approach mode. Okay, left downwind. .075. So we're in the visual circuit. We don't want the flight directors. We'll turn the flight directors off. We'll put the bird on. Give us a reference. Speed is coming back towards S speed, or about 175 knots. Nicely level at 1,700 feet. So we change our EFIS control to nav to give us the traditional circular arc. And we're looking for the airport to be around about 2.5 miles offset. That will give us our position just about right in the circuit. So we're coming round. I can see the airport now appearing on my left hand side. Round we come. Bring the bank off. Okay, and we get some nice views of downtown LA. Okay, so roll out, heading 075. Just slightly inside of the 2.5 miles, but looking okay. It's probably about 2.3, 2.4, so we're okay here. So, as we go downwind, we stay in flap 1, speed is good. As we get to the threshold, or beam the threshold, we're going to start the timing. 45 seconds, there's no wind, so it's 45 seconds plus or minus the wind, of course. So I can see the lights, I can see the red lights at the end of the runway, nice and clear. Okay, so we're approaching the end of the runway. Get ready with the timing, still maintaining. I've gained 40 feet. Let's get rid of that. Okay, that's the end of the runway. So timing starts. We're looking for 45 seconds. And then we'll take flap 2 before we start our turn into the runway itself. If this works out nicely, we should just come around over the head of the casino and the Coliseum. So that's 25 seconds, 20 seconds to go. Maintaining 1,700 feet. Let's drop 20 feet, let's go back up. Okay, so that's 40 seconds. I take flap 2, wait for my 45 seconds. There it is, turn left. Give myself 245 as an inbound course, 245. I'll take the gear down. Okay, so we now start a very shallow descent. I can see the casino coming up in front of me and the Coliseum just beyond it. So I think I'm in roughly the right place. Looking out the window now, see if I can see the runway. I can see the runway. I've got 4 white lights on the PAPI, so I'm slightly high. We'll start a more aggressive descent, 800 feet per minute. I'll take flap 3. Okay, so we're just going to roll out a little bit. Here we come. That's right. So I've got 3 whites and a red now. So we're looking a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to start the turn. Right over the Coliseum now. Maintain that descent. Looking good now. 2 and 2.
1,000.
That's 1,000 feet. Looking nice. Gear is down. Flaps are out. Cabin crew seated. Okay, now increase that rate of turn. Looks like I might overshoot a little bit. Okay. So there's the runway in front of us now. That looks good. 2 and 2. So we're going to maintain 700 feet per minute just to keep us on the glide slope. Looking good. Looking good. Airplane's trimmed, everything is nice. There's no auto brakes today. After landing, if you watch the ND, we'll see the ANF, the nav.
500.
That's 500 feet. Everything is stabilized. The ground map will come on automatically after landing. Still looking good. Looking good. So that's approaching 200 feet. You can see the touchdown zone nice and clear now. That's what we're aiming for. Okay.
100.
A little bit of pilot-induced
70.
oscillation.
50.
Thrust
40,
is coming off.
30.
Little
20.
flare.
Retard.
Oh. Okay. Reverse thrusts. Reverse is on. Max reverse. Start to apply the brakes. We don't want Zulu, we want the next one. Yeah, sorry, we want Zulu. Okay, cancel reverse. Excuse me, 27 knots, so we're just going to vacate the runway on this high speed as we bring the brakes on. Slow the aircraft down to a sensible taxi speed. And we vacate here, and we're going to turn left on Echo. That's it. So we're just down to 13 knots now. Let's bring it back down to 10 for the turn. There we go, 10 knots. And a little oversteer again, and we are now nicely on Echo. Excellent. And we just apply the brakes, stop the aircraft here, and the parking brake is set back on. And that's a visual circuit. So folks, that's how you fly a circuit in the A350. As I said, very similar to any other aircraft, light or heavy. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the like button. Tell us what you think in the comments below. What you want in these videos is what we will produce. So if you want more in the simulators, if you want more on the aircraft itself, tell us and we will do our best to accommodate it. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you all very soon.